More signs the Australian economy is in big trouble. And if you watch my last video, just only a few weeks after I mentioned the economic collapse, the Australian economy did collapse. So I suggest you listen to me this time. But before we get started, make sure you click the subscribe button and click that bell icon so you don't miss out on anything. I've also got a Patreon if you want to check that out, seeing as I'm giving you guys such good information. Now, I could mention the percentage household disposable income, the household debt service ratio, the income to service debt, the mortgage stress, the debt to GDP, the properties for sale versus how many actually being sold. Or finally, I could mention that the RBA met today and they left interest rates exactly where they are because there's no inflation and there's no heat in the economy, and the economy's struggling big time, and they can't give away money to try and ignite some sort of growth in the economy. But that doesn't mean anything to you guys. And some of you guys out there might be watching all those other nerds that just read graphs and do technical analysis on the graphs, and they just tell you all the data, but they don't know how to interpret it. See, all of these idiots that economic analysts out there, not one of them saw the GFC coming. And they're still in business, and you guys are still listening to these fools. Now, I read a book recently called Signals by Pippa Malmgren. She was an economic advisor to George Bush. She's a smart woman. Definitely someone that I look up to, and I contacted her. We had a little chat, and she pretty much confirmed the same thing, that the smart people didn't see it coming. Now, if the smart people don't see it coming, why don't you just listen to this fool called Dave Lee? Now, we just had a major correction, which means that we dropped more than 10%. The last correction that we had was back in January, and then the Americans had an injection of funds, which in fact, because the Australian economy is connected with the US economy, it actually boosted our economy for 9 to 10 months. And now we are back where we started back in January. And keep in mind, I predicted that in my last video. I'm pretty proud of that one too. Now, we are in the middle of a dead cat bounce, which means that we just had a little 10% correction and we're bounced back up, but we're going back down. And I'll tell you why. Because we just hit what they call the death cross. Now, the death cross is when the 50-day moving average meets the 200 moving day average. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter to you. The economy is going down even further because of something called the death cross. If you want to find out, just Google it. You'll be able to figure it out pretty easy. So there's a big possibility the economy might drop another 10% real soon, maybe even before Christmas. Interest rates won't increase before Christmas because they want you guys to spend some money. Early January, February will probably have a little, interest rates will start to increase. And we are still suffering from Mr. Deficit's awesome economic, Keynesian style economics. Wayne Swan, I call him Mr. Deficit because the guy, all he produced was deficits, and now we're giving this guy awards as some sort of economic genius. Probably 5 to 6, 7 years after he enacted Keynesian style economics, we should have pulled in some Milton Friedman action maybe, because at that point we needed it, and now we're just throwing money up the wall. And if anyone knows anything about Keynesian style economics, it ends in stagnation. So that's where we're going. That means unemployment and high inflation. So 2019 will be interest rates going up, unemployment going up, sticky wages kicking in, people not wanting to decrease their wages, so then they got to fire people. There's going to be a lot of unemployment. It'll start to gradually creep in 2019. By 2022, we will be in serious recession, if not a depression. The Australian dollar will probably drop to 64 US cents, maybe even 60, and maybe even lower. And China at that point will do everything that they can to destroy our economy. Now, a lot of you guys might say, oh, China's not going to do that to us. Well, you see, we are best friends with America, and America is trying to destroy China's economy. Do you think China's going to do us any favors? And I've also got a precedent to provide to you guys. When the US economy dropped and it hit its bottom, China stepped in and sold off billions of dollars worth of bonds. Why? Because they wanted to increase the pain. They wanted to dig the knife in a little bit deeper, and that's what they're going to do to us. They will do it to us 100%. I promise you guys, that is how it's going to play out. We had the 10% correction where we've just hit a dead cat bounce. We are back where we were back in January. And then we hit the death cross, which means that we are going to drop a further 10%, quite possibly before Christmas. And then in 2019, 2020, 2021, all the way up to 2022, it's not going to be really volatile. It's just going to be a gradual decline into depression or recession, maybe even depression. 2019, the Australian government, I believe, will step in and throw some more public funds up against the wall to try and ignite the economy again. And hopefully it lasts more than 9 months this time. If it doesn't, it might last 6 months. And in 2020, might last 5 or 4 months. And then eventually we're going to hit 2022 where we just run out of money. China pulls their money out and we are in deep trouble. So that's my predictions for what's ahead in the Australian economy and what's going to be short term and long term. Also, one more thing. I would love it if you're a renter right now. I would love to have on the lease. I would love you to be able to read on the lease how much mortgage stress the owner of the property that you're moving into is under. Because it's up to their discretion whether they increase your rent. And if interest rates increase in 2019 and you just moved into a property and your rent-seeking parasite of an investment property owner that you've just moved into gets a little hit, an increase in interest rates, these parasites are not going to want to pay it themselves. They're going to go straight to the real estate and give you 30 days to increase your rent, because that's what rent-seeking parasites do. They're going to want to squeeze you, and sometimes parasites kill the host. They're not the host. You're the host. If you're renting, you are the host. I would like to see that put on the lease. If you're in $500,000 of debt and you're going to interest-only loan, your renters should know about that, because they're going to be squeezed by you. Also, there's going to be less immigrants coming into Australia because there's going to be a cut to immigration. Immigrants, in fact, have been the renters, and we're not sure how that's going to play out just yet, because if they start leaving, there's less renters that these rent-seeking parasites can live off. They won't be able to pay their mortgages, and they might have to try sell them. And we're already starting to see that in the market. People aren't able to sell their properties. So, and then what will happen is they will default. Then all the pressure will go onto the banks, because all the banks will have to be taking all these properties that nobody wants, and then next thing you know, the government will have to throw money in there, and next thing you know, the government will be effectively owning a whole load of investment properties. And then property prices will keep decreasing, unless you're living in Tasmania. Tasmania is doing quite well at the moment, but everywhere else is on the decline. I just wanted to upload it now. Melbourne Cup Day, let you guys know about what the RBA's report was about. I thought that was very interesting. It was very ominous reading what the RBA put out today. If you like this video, make sure you click the subscribe button, click the bell icon. I've also got a Patreon if you want to check that out. Also, I will be putting up some financial advice on my Patreon, so if you want to support me there, I don't know, $1 a month, and I'll give you some priceless advice. Don't let fear stop you.